They're programming people to dress up as zombies because they want you to get used to walking around like a zombie, like a dead person. Because
it's getting us ready for this horrible apocalyptic period because
this is kind of like a plan, right?
Yeah, they want you to look like them because that's how they look at us.
And then they're going to overtake us once everybody becomes a zombie.
And particularly important to Christians because that's how they're going to perceive us, and that's how they're going to do the two genocides of the end time.
The Bible talks about that in the end times, in these end days, there's actually going to be the dead will rise and they'll walk the face of the earth. Okay, so is this a metaphor or is it actually going to be a rising of the dead?
There is no metaphor in the Bible to define that, so it has to be literal.
So you think it's literal. So the dead will rise, they will walk. This is like zombie type. I mean, isn't
I think it'll be like Jesus raising Lazarus, because this comes from God. This is not zombie-like. This is not demon-like.
Good point. Good point. Okay, it's because I'm covering a segment on demonic activity, zombies. Gary hit the nail on the head. When a person rises, you can either rise as a dead person, dead man walking, a zombie, which is what I consider demonic, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Or you rise as Lazarus, which is a real rising.
Yep.
It's a rising from the dead into life.
Yep.
So when these bones come up and they come up from the dead, they will come into life. These are not zombies, dead people walking around. These are live people.
Yeah, I believe the dry bones are part of the series of resurrections.
Wow, amazing. So this is probably out of your realm, but I have to ask you this question. Why are people intrigued with zombies? What's going on with the zombie thing?
Yeah, but to me, it's brainwashing. And I haven't quite nailed on what it is other than the connections that you did with sort of demons and dead bodies walking. But I do believe it's getting us ready for this horrible apocalyptic period because in the occult and in the secret societies, I haven't found a line that says this is their doctrine, but they tend to want to tell us what's going to happen beforehand. They like to hide everything in plain sight and then sort of let you figure it out. And I think this is a reflection of what is going to happen en masse with the amount of deaths between the seal judgments, the trumpet judgments, and the bowl judgments. And we even have people seeking death in the trumpet judgments from the stings from the scorpion things that come out of the abyss, which I have a great handout on people if people want to look for something other than technical weapons to get a hold of me on. But so I think that's kind of reflecting that and the amount of death that's going to happen in the end time.
So what you're saying is people are attracted to, I mean, there's a city in Louisville, Kentucky, which is where I'm from, and I think sometime in August, there's like 60 to 70,000 people. They get together and walk around, dress up as zombies and walk around as dead people. Yeah. And I say to now I've made some zombie movies. I wouldn't do it again, but I've had people call me and go, "Can I pay you like $10,000 to walk as a zombie in your movie?" And I'm going, what? This has to be the last days. Yeah. You know, this is insane. So what you're saying is people, I think, is that the reason people are desiring to walk around as dead people is because subconsciously they know that's going to happen one day and they're getting conditioned for it?
No, that's just part of the message. Here's what the occult believes, and these are all written by occult believers who either are initiated and understand the mysteries in the occult or they're fed the information to do the entertainment on. They actually look at the zombies as the humans, as these mundane, inferior human beings, and that's how they would consider us, less than cattle. The survivors are the elite with the bloodlines and the gene of Isis and the spark of the divine that are always amongst these subhuman, inferior people that would just love to kill them.
Oh, that's a good point. So in other words, they're programming the people to dress up as zombies because they want you to get used to walking around like a zombie, like a dead person, because you can't think for yourself.
Yeah,
this is kind of like a plan, right?
Yeah, they want you to look like them because that's how they look at us.
Wow. And then they're going to overtake us once everybody becomes a zombie, which really, Gary, I hate to say it, but if you look at a lot of the churches out there, a lot of churches are dead.
Oh, they are.
I mean,
and a lot
they're-
of Gnostic corruption into the churches.
Yeah, they're zombies,
Yeah.
actually. So what you're saying is this zombie thing is kind of like a movement of the SRAs, the Satanic Ritual Abuse, that's leaked, that's come into our society as part of the end time to condition people.
Yep. And in these zombie movies, they kill them in vast numbers. As what they're going to do with us. And so a lot of the wars are going to be designed to reduce the population of humanity. And really, they only want mundane humans for sacrifice or slavery.
Who's doing this?
Well, it's part of an organizational structure that goes back to the days of Noah. It includes the descendants of Cain, who received, as the occult believes, the 7 sciences from God, given to Adam, passed on to Cain and Seth, but Cain develops them in a way to lead people away from God. Then in his son, Enoch, son of Cain, who is one of the great patriarchs of Freemasonry, develops it into the 7 liberal sciences that matches up with the illicit knowledge from heaven that accelerates it to help corrupt the entire world.
Wow, I think you're the only guy I know that can link zombies to as in the days of Noah. I mean, we're laughing, but folks, I think Jesus, when he said in the days of Noah, he could have been referring to people going to be walking around like dead people.
Yeah, so it's this scientific organization that's looking like a priesthood today, a cult, that is marrying up with the polytheist religion for the end time, which is Babel.
Okay.
And then the bloodlines of the descendants, and as we mentioned, a possibility of maybe real giants in the end time. That whole organizational structure will come to fruition and control in the last 7 years.
Wow. Okay, to sum it up, I think you're saying, and I agree, is that this zombie movement is several things. It's one, to condition people to walk around as dead people, because the upper evil is conditioning them to do that from they take us over. And number 2 is that when people walk around as zombies, that they're used to being murdered by the mass murdering, because you see on television, they walk their head off. In other words, their life isn't worth anything.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So when people do this enough, it's no big deal to die.
And particularly important to Christians, because that's how they're going to perceive us, and that's how they're going to do the 2 genocides of the end time. The first one by Babylon in the first 3.5 years, and then the second one in the last 3.5 years by Antichrist.
Wow. So should Christians dress up as zombies? I mean, is that...
No, nor should they dress up as witches.
They shouldn't participate in it at all.
Vampires, or anything to do with that, with the occult, because those are all linked to occult rituals.
And this is Halloween.
And this is Halloween I'm referring to, which is really just a great Nephilim celebration, because it's about the spirits of the Nephilim coming through the portals, and then all of the costumes link back to either wizards and witches, which are the priesthood,
Right.
and or to things like werewolves or
Wow.
demons and ghosts, and everything. Costume is almost, whether it's a fairy king, a fairy queen, all goes back to the bloodlines and
Of the Nephilim.
Of the Nephilim.
And now we're back to as in the days of Noah that Jesus spoke about.
Yes.
So basically, when he spoke about that, he could have been speaking about zombies, and he could have been speaking about Halloween.
I think he's telling us that we need to be very much aware of what happened in the past, because it's going to happen again.
Wow, it's amazing, Gary. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. God bless you guys.